Jack Harkness. Jack Harkness, man. Some of the best reveals in Doctor Who history. Best Jack reveals in Doctor Who history. Best Jack reveals in Doctor Who history. Best Jack reveals in Doctor Who history. Best Jack. I mean, he got a whole show afterwards. 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 I. An audio test. Hold on, let me. Hold on. Okay, so it didn't mute it on my side, so maybe it muted it on your side now. This is great. Good thing we're doing this in the first 10 minutes and not the actual episode. Can we still not hear?
So
I don't know why, because it's showing that it's coming up on here.
yeah. Oh, she says that I'm good now.
We're good now. Okay, well, here we
Yeah,
go. Technical audio issues, but we got it. We're back on track, folks.
Yeah. And it's in the countdown, so it's perfectly fine. I have a new device, so we'll blame that. You know, it's like setting up a new device is a pain in the butt. We have here two of the first companions. So we have, I think it's Barbara Wright and Ian Chesterton. These are the first Doctor's two of the three companions. The third one being his granddaughter, who is not pictured. So, like, from the very beginning.
Oh, I know these ones really well. They're really fond to my heart. They're great. My favorite companions. This is who I'm talking about as my favorite companions.
Yeah, I think you were saying ahead of me. So I can see these being your two favorites. I love the relationship that happened here, because it, like, with Amy, started off seeming lovey, and I was like, we already got that with Rose, let's not do this again. But then it ended up being, like, more familial, and I liked that. Like,
yeah, and I liked Rory was kind of a joke in the beginning, and the Doctor was kind of mean to Rory and just kind of like dismissive to him. But then I feel like Rory and the Doctor become very good friends, and I don't know, I liked it. I liked their bond.
Kind of like Mickey got kind of the short end of the stick, you know, Rose's Mickey.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's where, like, Rory's relationship started, but then I was happy that it matured once again into that more, like, familial rather than the Doctor, like, dismissing a dude.
Yeah, because I don't really count Mickey as a companion like Rory. I feel like Rory was a companion, and Mickey was kind of like the side piece.
But I mean, just like Jack was only there for a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Mickey was there for a little bit. He was in the TARDIS.
True, he did go on adventures.
So even if he wasn't like a long companion, but it was kind of like a bummer that, I don't know, I don't like the Doctor necessarily, like, being mean to people, or, you know, like,
yeah, it's kind of out of character.
This one's Ace from the Seventh Doctor, and this one is one of my absolute favorite companions of all time. She was a whippersnapper. She had a backpack full of Nitro 9 and was a little too eager to blow things up, and the Doctor would chide her for that, you know, because he's not a man of, like, blowing things up. But yeah, she was a good one.
Nice. Oh, your favorite. Here's your favorite companion. The absolute favorite of all your companions.
You know, I think of all the, like, companions who spent a decent chunk of time in the TARDIS with New Who, I think she is my least favorite. I didn't like her arcs. I liked her as a character, but her arcs were... She was a little too powerful for me.
Yeah, and I do think that, like, with having her have such a, you know, part with Matt Smith and then another long part with Capaldi, and, like, they were just two very different doctors, and, like, maybe she just didn't quite fit in both of those narratives.
Yeah.
So. But I like Jenna Coleman. I like the actress. She's great.
Right. Right. And she got like crazy powerful arcs. Like she, you know, she was both the Impossible Girl and she had that arc where she like went into the time stream and saved every doctor ever. It's another one of my absolute favorites. I guess I'm just saying that about pretty much all the classic Who ones. This is Brigadier General Lethbridge Stewart.
Okay.
This is, so, you know, like Kate Lethbridge Stewart?
Yeah, this is her dad, grandpa?
This is her, yeah, dad or grandpa. Something like, and I think we even saw him when we first kind of saw Unit again in New Who. I'm pretty sure he's passed away at this point, but he was, and he wasn't, I guess he wasn't really like a proper companion, because I don't know if he ever was in the TARDIS, but the third Doctor spent so much time on Earth with Unit.
In his exile.
Like,
yeah.
By proxy, he spent a ton of time with him.
He got a name drop this episode.
I don't remember that, but...
He said it right before he saw Kate.
Makes sense.
Ah, River Song. I love River Song so much. She got a name drop in this episode.
Yeah, there were a bunch of... Did you hear the name drop of Adric? Do you remember me telling you the story of Adric?
Yes. I don't remember the story exactly, but I do remember...
And he was like the companion that died.
Oh, yes.
And Ncuti is like saying all the terrible things that the Doctor has dealt with, and I don't remember who it was. One of them said Adric, and it was like, ah.
I think they both did. He said Adric, and he said Adric. Like, they were like, oof, that's hard.
So that hurt the Fifth Doctor so much. Adric was the Fifth Doctor's last line, and this is you know well after Adric is dead. Like, you could tell in his regeneration that was something that still haunted him as he was regenerating into the Sixth Doctor. So,
ugh, that's heartbreaking. Rose Billy Piper.
I know.
I feel like she's one of the companions that got off, like, the luckiest. Like, she had a pretty good arc, and then she kind of got her happy ending.
Yes, I 100% agree. Donna's asking, and sorry, while I'm viewing the countdown, I can't really see the chat, so I had to scroll. If Ace was in one of the specials, and she was. One of the specials... I don't remember which special. She was in one of... I feel like she was in it, right? I know she was in it, and I feel like
With David Tennant?
It was recent. No, I think this was a more recent special. Maybe I'm wrong,
okay.
But she was... and her, one of the other companions as well, from, I think, the Third Doctor. I think they had two of the companions.
Oh, cool.
Sarah Jane Smith. This is, like, one of the most beloved of, like, classic Who... And we got to see her in New Who, and she had her own spin-off, the Sarah Jane Chronicles.
Right, and she spent time with K9.
Yes. So yeah, she's got a very special place in my heart. Absolutely love her. I think she has passed as well.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what this episode was saying. She got a name drop, and then Mel said she's gone too, and he was like, I loved her. Right,
yeah. Oh, that was heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah. There were definitely a few of those moments in this episode.
I know, and I can't wait to talk about them.
Let's do it then. Okay, let me just scroll down so I can see the comments. And hello and welcome to Road Goes Ever On and On. This is the third and final of our special Doctor Who episodes, following the three specials. This one is talking about The Giggle, starring Neil Patrick Harris. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited about seeing Neil Patrick Harris. Or I was, like, super happy to see him. So let's go ahead and dive in, and let's talk about the overall feel, or at least like definitely the introductory feel of this episode. For me, like it started off pretty creepy.
Very creepy. It had this very unsettling vibe from the beginning.
Yeah, and it did definitely like change the pace, which was a lot of fun and kind of made you not know what to, what was going to come. But those creepy moments, legitimately, like the wife doll when they're in the corridors and she goes into the room, like the way it walked.
Yeah, and talked and talking in
yes.
rhyme, so
yes.
creepy.
And the crazy thing is, like, it was pretty small. And so it's like, what can it do? But also that's kind of the creepy thing. It's like, what can it do?
Right, and those babies, those babies just like coming down, creepy puppet babies. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, the giant marionette, when like the doctor went into that room and he sees like the wrapped person and you don't know it at first, and when he takes him down, you like, I didn't notice it until the second watch, but like there's like the sound of wood as he takes him down. So they definitely give you clues, and then as he starts unwrapping, you see like that little bit of wood. I felt like that was a nice, creepy reveal. So, like, I thought this was going to be a very creepy episode based off of that kind of intro.
Yeah, and, well, even when he's talking about the hair, and he's like, oh, this is this nice hair that I got from this beautiful woman. I cut it from this beautiful woman, and just kind of left it ambiguous of how he got this hair, and just...
Right.
Real human hair, and the doll being filmed where it catches on fire, and jeez,
the mouth drops open, and you hear melting. Like yes,
it's almost like the body horror from the last episode, but towards puppets, and it's like with that almost uncanny valley that makes it just a little unsettling.
Yeah. So for me, that was kind of like a great way to start off, and I love the fact that they did end up pivoting, because for me, it was a fun kind of surprise, and I thought it was going to be more like the last episode where we're dealing with maybe like horror, and that definitely wasn't what the episode was about. Right. We're going to get into one of my favorite parts of this in a moment, but first, let's go ahead and do some trivia.
Alrighty.
We've got a true or false question. So 50-50 chance. If you know the answer, feel free to throw it in the chat. We'll give you a moment before we reveal the answer. So this says true or false. In 2006, Doctor Who was awarded the record of TV's longest running sci-fi show by the Guinness Book of World Records. 2006. Oh, yep. Sorry, I'm supposed to do it on me. That way you can actually see it. So in 2006, Doctor Who was awarded the record of TV's longest-running sci-fi show from the Guinness Book of World Records. So, I'll give people a few moments, but I'll actually do a little stream of consciousness, which is I'm pretty sure it's the longest-running sci-fi show. I don't know if like 2006 is when it happened, or if like the Guinness Book of World Records certified that. So,
well,
I don't know.
You would have to think. Okay, so the show started in 1963, so 2006 would be about their little after 40 years. Is there a show that was longer than 40 years? It seems right. I think that this is going to be true.
And it's sci-fi. Like there definitely have been longer running shows, but not sci-fi. So I'm going to go with true, but I could see there being a technicality. Feel free to throw your answer in the comments as to what you think the answer is. We'll go over them at the end. But let's jump into what I think. So Cassie says false.
Well, and Cassie likes to argue. She just wants to argue.
I could see it on like a technicality. So we'll see. Okay, so Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay.
Perfect.
I have a question for you.
Or maybe not.
somebody that saw the old Toy Maker, because see, I have nothing to compare him to. So like to me, this is a new character. He's portraying a new character. But from what you saw of the old Toy Maker to Neil Patrick Harris's portrayal of this Toy Maker, what did you think?
I don't think it matters because he did. This is the Toy Maker getting out of the bubble, you know, because like the Toy Maker worked in his own universes where he controlled absolutely everything in it. He wasn't working in our universe. And so I think that this is like time has happened. So this wasn't, it didn't feel like a perfect version of it as far as like being a perfect representation of what we saw in the past. But man, was he just like, I feel like he embodied the role perfectly as his own vision of it. I don't know if he saw any of the old stuff. I don't think he did, and I'm glad, because I just thought he was great.
I actually found out Neil Patrick Harris didn't even know about Doctor Who until he got the part.
I know.
That I feel like just shows like his talent as an actor, where he is able to just embody this role, and it feels like a Doctor Who villain. Like he did a great job of being a Doctor Who villain.
And who else could they? Who else could have done what he did? As far as like, they're asking for, you know, this was a very theatrical role. He's somebody who's done, you know, actual theater, musical stuff. Like they needed a dance number. They need somebody who can do juggling. They need somebody who they can do card tricks, and just does a killer character. And it's like, who else could they've gotten for this? And it was perfect.
Perfect. Like Neil Patrick Harris embodied this character, and with the sleight of hand, with the magic, because he is a magician, and watching him do that, like that's Neil Patrick Harris doing it. That's not hand doubles doing it.
Right. You're getting some serious love for your outfit, by the way.
Oh my gosh, my fans, Bourbon Beard, Cassie, thank you so much. You know, I gotta look sharp. Bow ties are cool.
And Lindsay has 3 hearts for Neil Patrick Harris, which 100%. 100%. I also think that's a great bridge for U.S. audiences. You know, in the past, this show was on Disney, and then like, or not Disney, was on BBC and BBC America. So in order to watch like on BBC America, you need like the full cable package. And it's in one of like those other channels. So it's like, how many people were really seeing this? Versus now that it's on Disney, I feel like it's a huge audience. And Neil Patrick Harris feels like a good way to bring in people that would want to say like, what's he doing? What's this show?
I feel like he doesn't do really bad roles. Like I've never seen Neil Patrick Harris like and been like, oh, he was terrible in that. So if you want to bring people in, you bring in NPH in.
Absolutely. So I thought it was kind of interesting. I felt like he was introduced almost like 3 times. Like when we first see him in the shop in 1925 Soho, we get a brief, like the audience gets a brief introduction as that one character gets like a brief introduction. Then like when the Doctor first sees him, doesn't quite know who he is, but is like getting a memory. I felt like that was like a second kind of introduction, and he was playing it a different way. You know, where he's like dancing in the street. And then when he's first introduced to Unit, I feel like that's the first time the audience sees his full power. Like, that he can do pretty much anything, which was wild.
And I feel like there was a little bit of a tease from the Doctor himself saying, like, telling Donna to go hide in the TARDIS. Like, I have never seen, like, even in Wild Blue Yonder, he was never like, go stay in the TARDIS while I go look around, even though we're about to go to war. But Neil Patrick Harris is get out of here. But that scene, that musical number, so good. Spice Girls, very popular UK band, and Spice Up Your Life, and Neil Patrick Harris just chewing the scenery and just looked like he's having the best time filming this.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's really where it pivoted, where you knew that you could both have extremely high stakes and at the same time have a lot of fun with it, because it's crazy to see a scene where the main baddie is with all of the good people that you care about, and have it be a fun scene, but still have it be extremely dangerous,
murdering people.
Right.
And like to the point where she said, "What happened to them? They're dead. Doctor, just come.
Right.
They're dead." Like,
right.
So much terror and yet a fun scene.
Yeah. So huge fan. So going back actually kind of to one of the things that you mentioned about like how did he do compared to the original.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there was a really good wink and a nod to that, which is when we first met him in the shop, and he's talking about, the chutes and the ladders and the rules. The rules are very important.
Right.
And he does like a little wink. He did in the original episode where he was in, he did kind of set them up to fail. Like, he was cheating. And so I think that was like a wink to kind of the original one, versus I feel like in this one, he was playing by the rules.
Right. I did...
Maybe he cheated when he cut the deck, but...
The doctor seemed pretty adamant that he doesn't think the toy maker cheats. Like, the toy maker just wants to play. And I don't, I haven't seen the original one, but I did like the toy maker as a character. Like, I think this being that sits outside of existence, that just plays game, like, doesn't care about good or evil, just wants to play a game.
Right.
Just wants to win or lose. It's all about what the games are. And watching him, Neil Patrick Harris, embody this role, like, he never felt evil. He just felt playful. Like, he just wants to play a game.
He wants to kill the doctor just so he can play with like a third version of him, which is like, that seems like such a cruel thing, but he just does it things don't matter to him. Like, he can do so much more than anybody else in this universe that things just don't matter. And so, like, that's such a trivial thing that I don't think he was even doing it to be, like, conniving. It was just like, I played with this one version. I played with this one. Let's have the last game be with the new one. Boom.
Well, even before the third game, and the doctor was like, you and we could just play games forever. He, like, puts the hand out like, hey, we can... I feel like he was thinking about it like, this could be better than...
But even if it was adventures, the doctor would want good, not necessarily just fun.
Right. Well, I think the doctor wants
to play.
Yeah, I think the doctor was just bargaining, trying to, like, get him to maybe come to his senses a little bit, maybe.
Right. Yeah. And then, but one thing I did think was, although he was like, I think he was toying with Donna at this point, the one thing I did think was very cruel was, like, when he did the little marionette play with going through the different companions.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is forcing the doctor to talk with Donna about what happens with his companions, which is also kind of setting up this thread that I feel happened in all three of these episodes, where it's like, Donna's probably going to die. We see her keep almost dying, and this felt like, the toy maker was saying, like, this is what happens to the doctor's companions, and it's going to happen to you.
Right, and oh my god, and back with Neil Patrick Harris, like, that, like, how he's portraying that, like, he's having fun and being so silly, like, with the marionettes, and then he cuts them, and then, like, the doctor tries to defend each companion death, and he's just like, that's all right then. Like, oh, she died in old age. That's okay then. Oh, she lives for eternity in 1 second. Oh, that's okay. So good. Also,
absolutely
in that
killer
little
performance
marionette show, when he gets to the flux, and there's all those planets, the planets seemed like a little bit of an homage to an old film called Trip to the Moon that came out in 1902, and this was about early television and film, and you've probably seen the scene before where they shoot a rocket and the moon has a face, and then the rocket hits the moon, and those faces on those planets looked very symbolic of the trip to the moon.
By the way, Cheyenne, thank you so much for the shout out. I know you're talking about Mark's setup. Absolutely love it as well. Love the bow tie. Love the fez. In a previous episode, he even switched out one of those for a thing of Doctor Who, which would have been nice, but still.
They're on our Doctor Who chats, so if you want to see the Doctor Who art, go to look at the Doctor Who chats. But thanks for joining us, Cheyenne.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody that's turned out in this one and the last two. Like, this has been a lot of fun, having people to kind of interact with. And, like, Doctor Who is something I've loved as a child. So I love the fact that we get to share this with other people.
And you kind of got me into Doctor Who. Basically.
I know.
So.
I know. We ready for some trivia?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we've got here, which alien species requires a translation sphere to communicate? I will ask the question again, and I'll show it, and I'll give the chat a moment to answer. Which alien species requires a translation sphere to communicate? Give it a few moments. I have my answer locked in. Mark, I don't know if you have your answer locked in.
I do have my answer locked in, actually.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty sure this one is the Ood.
That was my answer. The Ood.
Cassie says no clue on this one. Ood is 100% new Who, and I feel like after Tenet, we haven't seen enough Ood. I need more Ood.
They've gotten call-outs in the first and the third one of the specials.
I don't want to call out. I want to see more Ood.
I
feel like this has the potential, to do more with.
I think you could have brought the Ood back for these specials, because the Ood were so great.
They were. And I'm trying to think if... I don't remember seeing them outside of Tenet's run. Maybe there was like a...
No,
somewhere, but...
They weren't, because they were really big in Tenet's run with like the prediction of him dying.
Right.
And then like the only thing that I would equate into the Matt Smith run is... the Silence were kind of like the Ood of that series.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And I could see more Silence. That was a fun one.
I liked the Silence. Silence were cool.
So bring back the Silence while you're at it.
And
bring back Ood and Silence.
Make an Ood Silence team up that the Doctor has to fight.
Okay, let's talk about gold teeth. Or at least one gold tooth.
Okay, so there's a lot here, right? So who is the one that waits?
Who? I don't remember that reference. I do remember what did My Legions Are Coming. As
from me, right?
No, Neil Patrick Harris said that. As he was being flattened and packaged.
Right.
And then like right after that, the hand takes the tooth. Speaking of that, whose hand is that?
Is that Missy's hand? Because in the tooth is the Master, correct? That's right. Yeah, the Master came, a last-ditch effort, lost everything, lives in the gold tooth. We see a female hand, or it's either Missy... or I'm assuming it will be another version of the Master that has taken the form of a woman.
So I'm curious to see what this iteration of the Master is like. We did talk in a previous one about like favorite Masters and versions of the Master. I'm happy to see the Master back because that's always been one of my favorite characters, starting from like classic Who.
So when he was talking about the tooth, he was doing
Yes.
the whole card, sleight of hand, and he brought up to the doctor the one who waits. And, like, the one who waits is even above him, above the toy maker. And even the doctor says, who's that? And then that's when he starts going on the whole tangent, and then that's when he says that the master's in the tooth. So I'm curious of who is the one that waits.
Okay, so I wonder, do you think there's a connection between the one who waits and the Meeps boss?
Yes, I think they're the same thing. So I think we're getting a setup for Shooty's series, his run. Like, we're setting up a big bad in these specials from the very first special that we're going to see play out with Shooty. And I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And I'm, once again, any amount of master is like a good amount of master. So I'm happy to see him back.
So who do you think
it's time for
was?
Who do I think that I could see this being like the master had this clever plan of knowing that he was dying, that he could have a past version of himself. I don't know. I think this is going to be something timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, and interesting and fun. So I think it could be a version of the master.
I'm excited to find out, though, because that is going to be good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And who knows? Like, maybe even the one above all is a future version of the master who planned this whole thing out to, like...
I mean, it very
well could be. Pulling the strings from... Yeah. So, we'll see.
We'll see.
Right. We'll do another one of these, and then we've got a kind of a bigger section. So Donna's saying, well, first of all, Cassie, I don't know exactly what Who Dharma is, but I'm all about it.
I think she meant to say
Donna
Who Drama.
Who Drama.
There's a lot of Who Drama.
Love the Who Drama. Donna's saying, is it possible the tooth falling out releases the master from the tooth? I think he's... maybe. I think he's still locked in there and will be let out. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see in Shooty's reign. Okay, so we've got in the episode Blink, in what year were the Doctor and Martha trapped? And it's a multiple choice question. So we have 1945, 2 is 1972, 3 is 1969, and 4 is 1909. I'll give the chat the numbers again and then ask the question. So we have 1 is 1945, 2 is 1972, 3 is 1969, 4 is 1909. Feel free to throw your answer in. It's a 1 in 4 chance, so it doesn't hurt to throw something in there. And while we're waiting on people's responses, Donna's asking if Neil Patrick Harris is really gone, though. I hope he'll be. He's a pretty big name, so it might be tough to... But for a special, maybe?
I think that it gives the possibility that he could come back throughout, like at any moment he could reprise the role as the toy maker. So,
and the fact he's changed his face once means that they could even have somebody else play the toy maker in a future date. So he could still bring back... I mean, I'd prefer Neil Patrick Harris as the toy maker.
Yeah.
Cassie's got her guess in. Mark, do you need these numbers again?
No, I know which one.
Okay. I legitimately don't know the answer to this, so I've got my answer, my guess locked in. You want to go ahead and go with yours first?
I believe the answer is 1969. That's my answer.
When I said that I had my answer locked in, that's what I was going to guess, and I'm still going to guess that because that's when I said I was going to lock it in.
Yeah.
But I think that's not long enough. Like, I feel like they got sent further back than that, so I think that guess is wrong.
We went to the moon in 1969.
But I locked it in, so I'm going to stick with it. Bigeneration and Shooty Gatwa. I'm going to jump in with Bigeneration first.
Okay.
And how it affected me in the beginning. I was not ready to lose David Tennant before the episode was over.
Because it came so early.
It came so early. When that beam hit him, it's just like emotions were welling up that I was not ready for. And I'd prepped myself for this episode, right? Like, I know we got to say goodbye to Tennant. I'm ready. I know it's going to happen. And then he got shot, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready.
It's so funny you say that, because as soon as it happened, I stopped the episode to see how much time was left. Because I was like, what? No. So...
And then the regeneration energy, like, goes away, the visual of it. And I was like, oh, don't play games with me where it's like he doesn't. Like, you can't pull at my heartstring and then not have it happen. But I honestly thought what ended up happening, which was a complete surprise, I think I'm down with the effects of this. You know, like having, at least for a period of time, having two doctors, because it led to some amazing scenes that we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
I agree. So I wasn't necessarily, I was like, oh, you just make two doctors, so I wasn't necessarily on board with it at first. But knowing how much trauma the Doctor holds and how he has always just been like beating himself up, and like,
yes,
I'm sure we see that he works on himself.
That hug,
watching the Doctor hug himself, and like, we've seen the Doctor interact with the Doctor before, and it has never, I've never felt like the Doctor has given the own Doctor like a break to be like, it's okay. Like, yes, bad things happen, but it is okay. Oh my gosh, that scene between Tennant and Ncuti oh my God, it was amazing. I was like in tears.
It was so tender. Like, he said, I got you. It's okay. I'm here. I'm actually struggling saying these words right now because it's like re-bringing the memory back, and then he kisses his head.
Yeah, David Tennant buries his head in his neck. Like, so, and that's another great thing to see of like male masculinity, you know, that can share this heartwarming moment with each other. Ugh, so good.
And so I felt like that was such a beautiful moment. The Doctor has never gotten that. It's always just bad, and always, get the tissues.
Seriously.
And I wasn't ready for it. It was so beautiful. But for me, Ncuti's Doctor was one of the first of like recent Who that I feel like came out of the gates knowing who he, like, fully formed, you know, not like needing some time. He was fun, he was energetic. I feel like he had a good sense of who he was. It made for a great like last 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, so good. And I am so excited to see Ncuti be the Doctor. Like, I just feel like is so charming and so charismatic, and I cannot wait to see what he does with this Doctor. Just seeing him play off Tennant as the Doctor was just, oh my God. I was loving their chemistry, and this kind of opens up the door that Tennant can come back at any time, really.
Yeah, and he can do one-offs. It doesn't have to be like a whole series. Cheyenne is saying, yes, exactly, it's okay to feel. I feel this episode did that. And it also talked about like mental health, you know? Ncuti tells Tennant to maybe get a chair so he can just sit down, you know? It's for... I don't feel like we've really seen that in Doctor Who, where it's like the Doctor's constantly punishing themselves. And this was the first time that, you know, that somebody was telling the Doctor to like take it easy and take care of yourself. And it was interesting because, so I know that this is weird, you know, this Bigeneration, but I do still think somewhat linear, because Shuti was saying that we're doing rehab out of order, which means it does seem like whatever Tennant is doing afterwards is healing Tennant, which is allowing Shuti to come out fully healed. Because he did seem like he wasn't dealing with the trauma the way that past doctors have.
Right. And I do think that this also gives a bit of like I know they're resetting it, like this is the new series, the new season, like it's not continuing New Who anymore. So I do feel like this is a good reset for the character too, to not have all this baggage and all this weight that he's carrying completely. And this episode, these 3 episodes I feel did a great job with Donna being the companion of really emphasizing why it's clear that the Doctor's not taking care of themselves.
Right. Absolutely. And this was like, it was such a fun introduction to this person. He's so young and vibrant. He said funner, which is something that would normally bug me. And you know what? I don't know. It was okay. It was cool. And I'll stop being, pedantic about things like that. Because I think it was kind of like fun to Lindsay says, so handsome too. And without
so
pants,
handsome.
So you can see how much of him is handsome. Which, that was a lot of fun, actually. Like, Tennant's not wearing the socks and shoes. Shuti's not wearing the pants. Like, that was a really fun scene
that switched over. Yeah, they had to wear the same clothes. They had to share the clothes, but so good.
Loved the outfit. It's not pointed out in this episode, but I assume since Shuti got like the buttons and like the collar on the dress shirt. Since I think
Tennant's was an undershirt. His long sleeve, I think it was like an under like pajama shirt kind of thing.
Okay, which means, and I'm going to say that this is canon, Tennant was not wearing underwear at this point.
Yes, that's what I think too.
Because
yes, that's what I believe as well. Tennant was going full commando in that last game of catch. Just
it is
free balling.
It is canon. Yeah. Cassie says how cheeky. I mean,
pretty close.
Shuti was definitely was pretty cheeky, that was, and that catch scene, I think, like, really brought a lot of energy and showed these two kind of playing off of each other. For me, I'm really excited to see where we go with this new Doctor who doesn't have the baggage. I'm sure that they'll still have like sadness and scariness and things like that, but it doesn't have to come from the Doctor, maybe. And I think that's going to be like a cool reset, And
I do think it gives opportunity for new sad stories to happen to the Doctor that he has to deal with. But yes, I don't think that I think that, like I was saying, with this new take on the Doctor, it gives this fresh coat of paint. It really like resets everything.
Ahmad Khan's just also made the connection that he was going commando. Loves
100%,
it.
100% commando.
Absolutely, because I honestly, here's when I made the connection. So it's Dawn and I, after watching the episode, we watched like the making of. And when we watched the making of, that's when I saw that Tennant didn't have his socks and shoes. And at first I was thinking like, and they showed like the mats that they're like jumping onto. And so I thought that maybe that was just like for the comfort of jumping around and that we didn't actually see his feet. But the second time I watched the episode, I was like, no, he's not wearing socks and shoes. And anything that the one is wearing, the other isn't.
Right.
And so it's like, if Shuti's wearing the underwear, ...
And same with me. The first time I watched it, I didn't necessarily, like, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, they clearly have some of the clothes of each other, but why are they both wearing long sleeve shirts? And then I noticed that the other shirt was the undershirt to that shirt, and I was like, okay. And in my mind, I was like, he's not wearing underwear.
Really? Brilliant. All right. I think it's time for the next one.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. What is the birth name of River's song? What is the birth name of River's song? We'll give chat a few moments.
You got this, chat. I believe in you.
I don't honestly remember. I had it at one point. Oh,
I know it.
Okay, so I have to go first because you said something the last time. So I don't remember the first part. Obviously, it's like something pond. But I don't remember what it is. So that's going to be my answer. Is like something pond. Cassie said melody something. All Mod Con said melody pond. I'm not going to change my answer.
All Mod Cons is correct. If I am guessing, I believe all mods is correct.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about 14 and Donna. I know we've already talked a little bit about this, but I think I wanted to go a little bit more into the fact that Cheyenne also jumped in with melody something. I love that everyone's remembering the first name, which I should remember, and I just remember that she was Amy Pond's daughter. So
right.
In my head, Pond. It's got to be something Pond,
but
because it's
song
not
and melody.
I love the fact that it's not Rory's last name, because Rory took Amy's last name.
Yeah, they're the Ponds.
Yes, they're the Ponds, and I love that. So it's not like whatever Rory's last name is. It's definitely Pond. Absolutely love it. So I actually really liked this ending. I liked the fact that the doctor finally got a happy ending. The companion got a happy ending with the doctor. There's always some sad reason why the companions leave. Always some sad way to see the doctor go. And I feel like something will still happen to Tennant at some point, but I don't know. Maybe he just dies of old age. Maybe he doesn't have regeneration. I don't know. Who knows what? But it feels like a happy ending for once.
Well, I don't know. I do think there is another happy ending, and it is with David Tennant. Every time I feel like David Tennant's doctor gets the happy ending. There was that version where he had the other regeneration of the doctor, and Rose got to be living in the alternate reality with him. She got her father back. Nice little bow on that little tidy thing. Then that
wasn't his happy ending.
But then he came back, and he had a happy ending, and he gets a full TARDIS to himself. He gets to live with Donna Noble, his best friend. I do feel like he gets the best happy ending.
And I feel like the adventures he gets to go on at this point, because I do think that Ncuti is the doctor at this point, you know? And so I feel like with Ncuti protecting the universe, that Tennant can just kind of have fun with all these different family members, he can go with Donna's daughter, he can go with Donna, he can go with Donna's mom. I'm sure he'll do something with Wilfred. Exactly.
And Mel. He can
fun
do things
adventures.
with Mel.
Yeah. To me, that's great.
He sounded very endearing talking about each new family member, where he was saying he gets to be the uncle to his niece, and he gets to be with Donna, his best friend, and his brother-in-law, and crazy Aunt Mel. He finally gets a happy ending. And I don't know, in Classic Who, was there ever a nice happy ending?
I don't think so. I mean, literally the first Doctor didn't want to leave the program, but he the actor was ailing and couldn't remember his lines, and so they wrote him out. The second Doctor was forcibly regenerated by the Time Lords when he asked for help. Third, oh, that was so good. The Planet of the Spiders. But yeah, that wasn't happy. Fourth, not happy. Fifth, definitely not happy. He's like his last line is Adric, like he's regenerating with
Right.
sadness. Fifth, once again, or the sixth, the and seventh. Yeah, no, none of them have been good. I know we aren't technically seeing 14 regenerate, so maybe he doesn't, but it felt like a happy ending, even if it wasn't.
Also, I don't know if this is relevant, but I had captions on when I watched the episode, and any
Okay.
time David Tennant talked, while after Chuti was there, they referred to him as the 10th Doctor.
Hmm.
It said like 10th Doctor would say this. So I don't know if that was just an error by Disney because they're doing the
Yeah,
subtitles. I don't know, but
that's what I'm. From everything I've read, it's like this is the 14th Doctor,
yes, 100%.
and the outfit is clearly different. If nothing else, like he only has the top button buttoned when he used to have other buttons buttoned. To me, this is a different Doctor.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna guess that Disney made a mistake because they're busy making too many Marvel movies and Star Wars movies, and I love both of those, but too much of a good thing can be a bad thing.
Definitely. Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna say their attention is split.
So overall, what do you like? I know that you're happy the Doctor finally got an ending,
Yes,
but do you
yes.
think with like two TARDISes, two Doctors, like what are your whole thoughts on that aspect?
I'm wondering if this is part of, I've heard something about Russell T Davies wanting to do something like the MCU where he has a big universe, and they've already done spin-offs, with like Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Chronicles. To me, it feels like this is potential spin-off material and a way of having a universe. Like honestly, the Vlinks kind of felt like that to me, where the Vlinks felt like a weird addition to this episode because it didn't get a lot of screen time unless this is something that is going to be in unit anytime we see unit, including in other shows. Like that seemed like a reoccurring character.
Yeah, the Vlinks seemed like almost like a robotic doctor that works for Unit in a way. Just like something that's really smart, good at, you know, doing stuff. Not time traveling, but I was curious about the Vlinks, and I was wondering if the Vlinks had appeared before. But it did
I've
seem
never
like
seen the Blinks before.
the Doctor was meeting the Vlinks as well, so I thought
Yes.
this was brand new.
Um, Also, kind of going back to 14 and Donna very briefly, loved Wilf and the mole moment. I thought that was a hilarious joke.
That was really good.
And it was a nice way to like give Wilf a little bit of something to do in this, like, to address the fact he's missing, but still have it be something happy. So
Right,
we
like
get that
he's
happy
doing
ending.
something. Like he's missing, but he's there. Like you know he's there. Like, and he felt like he was in all three episodes, which I feel like for the Doctor and Donna, he kind of had to be.
Right. So Donna saying this, and she said this to me when after we were watching it, that the Blinks kind of reminded her of Men in Black. Just like aliens and humans working together. That Unit's been around so long. They've like encountered so many like aliens and alien tech that they have this thing. And that shouldn't be a surprise. And I kind of get that.
I, was
It
the
still
Blinks?
seems like a reoccurring character though.
Was it an alien or was it a robot?
It seemed like alien tech at a minimum. Like that
Okay,
seemed
it did seem alien tech.
like
You're right.
it seemed like alien tech.
Yeah,
Um, I think it's about time for another question.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So we've got during the Dalek Civil War, what was the name of Davros's followers? Followers, sorry. So I'll say it again. During the Dalek Civil War, what was the name of Davros's followers? Mark, I think it's your turn to go first. I have my answer locked in already. We'll give the chat a few moments.
Shoot, I feel like I know this one. Because I feel like
we
hear about it in New Who.
You got this. The Dalek Civil War, I think, is from New Who, I think.
Is it?
All these are New Who questions.
Oh.
So, Almag Khan says no clue, lol. Mark, what is your answer? And then I will go ahead and go with mine.
It's not the children of Davos, right? I don't think so.
You tell me. You tell me what your answer is.
I don't think it's that.
Cassie says Imperial Daleks. And then my answer is also no clue, lol.
No clue, lol.
I do not remember this one. I remember the episode, but I don't remember the name.
And then he comes out with the iPad Daleks, right? Where they're all different colors. He's got the red one, the blue one, the yellow one, the green one. That's like when the iPad shuffles were coming out.
Right. Yes. I did have like one other. It's not like a separate topic. I don't know if you have anything else you want to kind of chat about, but there was one other thing that I love that's not like a big topic, which is going back to inclusion, and we've talked about it in these past few episodes. Specifically, Unit had a ramp going all the way up, and the Doctor's TARDIS for the very first time had a ramp in it. Loved it.
I
honestly loved it.
The first thought that happened in my mind when we saw the ramp to the TARDIS, now the Daleks can get in. Now the Daleks can get in. Before, they couldn't make it in. They got up to the... That was a defense mechanism, and now we're just letting them in.
Right. So Donna and I, once again, we were watching like the making of after the fact. And the actor that played the person in the wheelchair, I guess somebody, I don't remember the whole thing. My apologies for not remembering the whole thing, but I don't remember if like somebody wrote in and Russell T Davies read something about like, you know, the fact that the TARDIS isn't wheelchair accessible. But as soon as he like realized that, he was like instantly, we're gonna change that. We're gonna make the TARDIS wheelchair accessible. And this is what I love about like inclusiveness. And some people can say it's, you know, people being woke or whatever. It caused that actress to cry. And that is so friggin' awesome to me, because it's like there are so many people who don't feel represented or seen, and this was like the first time that, like, such a tiny thing and so easy, you know? So it's like, why would you not do that?
Yeah, why not make it accessible?
Right. You know, so it's like having a transgender person, like now transgender people can say, I could be the Doctor's companion. Like it's meaningful to people. And I love that.
And, you know, I do feel like this episode was like a critique of like the criticism that Doctor Who was getting for these first two specials. You know, it's very much like everybody has to be right. It's the, you know, keyboard warriors that are arguing online and, you know, had a little bit of, you know, similarities of things happening today of like, they don't want people to wear the Z-Dex because it's, you know, government push instead of like wearing a mask for COVID. And I felt like this one was like making a statement about like how people are trying to fight and want to just fight about the dumbest things, and like getting mad about having a trans character in Doctor Who, being mad about going back to the wheelchair thing. I heard another thing about other paralyzed people getting upset because Davos was shown to not be in a wheelchair. Like, so Davros was in a wheelchair, and they were like, oh, we don't want somebody in a wheelchair being associated with being the evil person. And I was seeing people getting upset that they were doing that, and like, oh, what? We can't, just over nothing stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I feel like this
Absolutely.
episode was a bit of a critique on that, which was cool.
I think so. All right, I think we should go over answers, and then if nobody has anything that they want us to chat about, like any questions, then we'll go ahead and wrap up after answers.
Alrighty, sounds good.
Okay, so I'll go through these quickly. True or false, in 2006, Doctor Who was awarded the record of TV's longest-running sci-fi show by the Guinness Book of World Records. The answer is true. I shouldn't have... I think I said true, but I thought that it could be pedantic, which is like the kind of thing I would do. So,
Yep.
Which alien species requires a translation sphere to communicate? And it is the Ood.
That just says
Love
ood,
me some
actually.
ood.
There's no preposition there.
No,
right. So...
and I want, like somebody said in the chat, I want oodles of ood.
Oodles and noodles of ood.
Oodles and noodles of ood. In the episode Blink, what year were the Doctor and Martha trapped? And the answer, I got it. We both got it right. But I was not feeling great about that answer. So like the fact that I questioned myself kind of makes me feel wrong, even though I was right.
You said 1969. You said it was before 1969.
I said my official answer is 1969, but I feel it's before. So
but
like
remember they
I
had
did
to record
officially
it?
say the right answer.
You did officially say the right answer.
What is the birth name of River Song? Good job, everybody that got the first name right, and good job, whoever got the whole name right. It is Melody Pond.
I believe that was all Mod Cons. Good job. I know Cassie and Cheyenne got close. They said Pond or Melody.
Right.
Melody.
Yes. Yes, and then I just use like the parentage to come up with a last name, which is kind of like the cheating way of remembering part of it. During the Dalek Civil War, what was the name of Davros's followers? And the answer is Imperial Daleks.
Imperial
I think
Daleks. Cassie, good job.
Cassie said that.
Yeah, Cassie's pro-Whovian.
Good job on that. I felt a little wibbly wobbly on this one. Didn't feel like it was my best showing, but still.
Felt wibbly wobbly on which one?
On like at my performance, like I like it when I nail them all, but it's, and even some of the ones I got right, I was like I felt I was guessing,
But you got the Ood one, and that one's like one of the most important ones, really.
That is.
The Oods are so sweet and creepy.
They are.
And kind of cute.
They are. Do you guys know when the new season starts? All Mod Cons, I don't know when the new season starts, but I do know that we do have a Christmas special coming out on Christmas. We are not going to do a live one on that with Shooty. Actually, tomorrow there will be the Goblin song will be released about that. All the proceeds for the Goblin song going to, I don't remember what charity. But and then after that, I honestly don't know when the actual season starts. So we'll have to do a search on that.
A full Goblin song that's coming out for Doctor Who?
Yeah, and then if you want to see what happens, what the Goblin King does with the Doctor, you have to watch the episode or something like that. I don't know all the deets, but we'll know the deets tomorrow.
I'm telling you, I am so excited to see Shooty as the Doctor. It's going to be so good. I feel like the charisma is going to be great.
100%. 100%.
What, everybody in the chat, what did you guys think of the specials with Tennant? Like, what were your guys' thoughts on everything? If you feel like putting it in the chat, we're curious. Like, you've been hearing us talk about how we felt about it. Well, how'd you guys feel about these 3 specials? Were they good? Did you like them? Did you want more?
Did you have a favorite?
What was your favorite of the 3?
Number 2. Wild Blue Yonder. Absolutely.
That's fair. I think my favorite was the 3rd one. I think this one was really good.
It was good. The second one, I instantly loved it. The 3rd one, I had to like think on parts of it too, because like the Bigeneration threw me at first. I thought they were like just tugging with my heartstrings, but I did love it as I thought about it. Almond Khan's favorite was the first one. I felt like that was a great intro for new audiences.
That was actually a really good one. Great stakes in that one. Reconnecting the Doctor and Donna. Honestly, these three were so good. When I was watching all three of these episodes, I thought about the last time that David Tennant did those 4 specials, like the Water on Mars, End of the World Part 1, End of the World Part 2, and I thought, like, I was like, these are just as good as those specials. Like, they killed it with these.
Absolutely. And I feel like they did a good job of... they did a really good job of... sorry, I don't know why I'm brain farting. Oh, of like, catching up new audiences. Where it's like, I felt like anybody could jump in at this point, and they only told you what you needed to be told, but they still did a good job of surfacing like classic Who fans or longtime Doctor Who fans and having all sorts of like hidden things, but it didn't feel like there was homework where it's like, I have to watch this other stuff to understand it. It's like, you'll enjoy it more.
You enjoyed it, apparently. Thumbs up from the mouth.
we just learned about this feature. When I do that, I get a thumbs up on my screen. That's fun.
But yes, I do agree they didn't do that, like, you didn't have to know a lot, but they also did a good job of teasing little things that, like, if you did enjoy these, you can go back and see different things that the Doctor went through.
Right. One quick thing is Dawn did want to remind me that she came up with some interesting facts about Ncuti, in case you want to know about the new Doctor. So
I would love to know about the new Doctor.
We'll run through these for anybody that wants to know about Ncuti. His first name is pronounced Ncuti, and it shows like Shooty, which I did struggle with when I was first seeing his name, but it does seem pretty easy to pronounce. When he was a toddler, his family fled the Rwandan genocide and moved to Scotland. He grew up in Oxgangs and Fife.
Okay.
So he is Scottish Rwandan, and I saw a clip with his new Sonic, and it has a saying on it in Gallifreyan, but it's basically a Rwandan phrase.
That's
so I thought
cool.
That was like, yeah.
I mean, well, as a Rwandan that fled the Rwanda genocide, that's pretty Gallifreyan. Like, he was like the last of the Time Lords. Like, I feel like he can work a lot with that as the actor.
Absolutely. First person born outside the United Kingdom to play the Doctor, which is huge.
That's exciting.
Don says he said he could relate to the wars that the Doctor's been through because of his history.
See?
That's like, how many white dudes have that perspective? You know, like, that's, I think that's a great thing about inclusion, is like, there's just more that people can bring to the table when you have different perspectives.
More points of view.
Exactly. Before he was cast in Sex Education, he was homeless and couch surfing.
Wow.
Yeah, that silence says everything. Like,
wow.
That's mind-blowing. The first African actor to play the lead role and the fourth Scottish actor to do so. Sylvester McCoy, David Tennant, and Peter Capaldi were all Scottish. He's the fourth Scottish person.
I actually knew that.
First person to play the Doctor to be born after the Class series was canceled. I assume that means like maybe the original run. So he was born in 92. He's a young.
This is the first Doctor I'm older than.
Like, this is a Doctor for a new generation. Like, I'm excited about it.
I am so excited about it. Ugh.
I'll reel back a little bit on thinking he's hot, knowing his age now. I mean, he's an adult, but
yeah, he's an adult. He's not like recently an adult either.
Right.
Like,
yes.
Calm down.
I know. Okay.
We can still thirst over him.
We could. I think a lot of people were.
Oh yeah.
He was featured in an edition of Teen Vogue in January 2019. One of his earliest acting gigs was in the 2014 TV miniseries Bob Servant. I don't know that. And then the last fact we have, before sex education, he studied acting at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland and went on to specialize in theatre. He performed at the Globe Theatre, playing Demetrius in A Midsummer Night's Dream.
That's very cool.
So,
that is just an impressive history. To be homeless
really
and couch surfing to the doctor, that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ahmad Khan's saying that they can't believe that he was homeless. Gotta be a story there. That's wild.
It's so crazy. But
absolutely.
With that, I think this will bring our journey to an end. Thank you guys so much for joining us for these 3 live specials. It has been a treat. We couldn't do any of these without you guys, so thank you so much for joining along. I do believe we do have plans in the future to do more live shows, and we will keep you updated on what those shows will be when they are coming out. We will have our next episode, our final episode of Foundation tomorrow, and then next week we will be having our first episode of Silo. So thanks a lot for joining us. This has been The Road Goes Ever On. I'm Mark. This is Sterling.
Thanks.